Newt Gingrich is breathing the rarefied air you find at the top of the polls, but success brings scrutiny, of course. Can he win the nomination with all his baggage, political and personal? Never shy, he's actually on the attack. His target, the president.
Obama can't possibly win an election that's fair. The only way he's going to win is to so destroy the Republican that people decide reluctantly that he is less disgusting than his opponent. So they will run a campaign of astonishing dishonesty.
Classic Gingrich. But can he survive the scrutiny? It is all fair game. With me today, Doug Heye is a Republican strategist. Roland Martin is a CNN political analyst. They both join us from Washington. Roland comes ready to play. But I'm sorry, I'm going to start with Doug here. So, Doug,
he has a nice pocket square, too.
If Gingrich,
Thank you.
All right, we're done with the fashion. If Gingrich gets the nomination, Doug, could he stand up to the type of campaign that he says Democrats will employ?
I think he's ready to do that. You look at what's happened with the Gingrich campaign over the past year. It's very similar to the McCain campaign. It fell apart a little bit. People didn't take it seriously. People had written him off. But he slowly and surely built himself up. And, you know, if you've watched Newt Gingrich's career over the years, he's been criticized a lot for being undisciplined. But over the past year, he's been very disciplined, very focused, very clear and consistent in the debates. I'd look forward very much to a debate between Newt Gingrich and President Obama. I think he could win it.
So, Roland, we know that Newt Gingrich is trying to paint himself as a Washington outsider, not an insider. Do you buy it?
For a second, Randi Kaye, if there was a Democratic candidate with all of Newt Gingrich's baggage, and he tried to say, I'm an outsider when he's been an insider, Doug would be licking his lips saying, oh, my God, we're going to tear this guy apart. There is no way in the world Newt Gingrich, the former Speaker of the House, can stand there and talk about insiders in Washington. He has essentially been peddling his influence with all of these people supporting his various interests. Now, he'll say these are all my ideas, but they are buying access to state officials and federal officials, and he knows it. And you would think Tea Partiers who have been saying throw the bums out, the last thing they want to do is put a bum back in.
Doug, you want to respond to that?
Well, in an anti-incumbent atmosphere, you know, that's something that Newt Gingrich, having been elected so many times, being a former speaker, will have to address. But what we've seen is on the stump, he's really been at his best. For a lot of people, it's been a surprise, but we know that is how Newt Gingrich really galvanizes support, with talking about real ideas and actually a lot of straight talk, too. And that's what Republican voters want to hear.
You know what, Randy, is really interesting, because we saw former President Bill Clinton come out and talk about how Newt has re-energized himself because of his ideas. If you go back to 1991, 92, in essence, Bill Clinton knew he had skeletons in his closet, the bimbo eruptions. So if you go back and study that campaign, Bill Clinton tried to make it all about ideas in the economy. I think Newt Gingrich has actually studied the Clinton campaign in 92 to say, focus on the economy, downplay your personal problems when it comes to your marriages, divorces, and cheating, and say it's all about the...
Oh. All right, we lost Roland there for a moment. Doug, I'm going to continue with you in the meantime.
Sure.
Certainly Gingrich is getting some criticism about the fees that he got from Freddie Mac. How do you think that's going to play?
Well, that's something he'll have to directly address. He'll have to make very clear that, and the laws, fortunately, for former Speaker Gingrich are very clear on this about what is lobbying, what isn't lobbying. So he'll be able to address that, I think, pretty clearly. But he'll have to convince voters that this is something that not only is acceptable, but also is something that is an asset for him in his campaign.
So, no, Doug.
Oh, Roland's back.
That's when he comes back. I hear it.
I'm back, Doug. Doug, it's a little hard to stand there and condemn Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac when you took almost $2 million. And I get the technical aspect of who is a lobbyist. But the reality is, Doug, you have been in this town. We know how it all plays. Those two entities had Republicans and Democrats, and they put them on the payroll because they knew about their influence and how they could impact members of Congress from their respective parties. And so Newt can't stand there and say, oh, no, I was a historian. Right, we can read a history book. He was there because he's a former Republican Speaker of the House. And so technically, he wasn't a lobbyist, but he was there for his influence, and he knows it.
But we should point out he's not registered as a lobbyist, and he says that he is not a lobbyist.
But that's the dance. Read Craig Unger's book, Randi Kaye, where Craig Unger, where the Carlyle Group would say, oh no, former President George H.W. Bush, he wasn't going out lobbying for contracts. Well, you knew when he had lunch at the Saudi Royal Palace, he was there to hook up some contracts. And so that's the Washington, D.C. Potomac two-step. I'm not a lobbyist, but I'm an influencer.
Are you going to teach us the Potomac two-step one day, Roland?
Oh, yeah. It's very
so.
similar to the Texas two-step, except this one, their mouths are moving, our feet are moving.
All right, let's give Doug the last word here.
Sure. Obviously, it's going to be a difficult thing to do, and it's one of the challenges that he's faced. And as other issues have come up, he's faced these challenges too. But again, a lot of people have written off Newt Gingrich, not just during this campaign, but 2 years ago, 4 years ago. No one thought Newt Gingrich would be a force in the Republican Party or in politics as a whole. We'll see if he can climb that last hill, but he's done really well in, again, being clear and consistent with his messaging.
Doug Heye, Roland Martin. I know, Doug, you tried to disconnect. You pulled that satellite plug, but Roland kept coming back. So,
that's another two-step.
Thank you both. That was fun, and that is fair game for today.